So today I am standing in front of our new shop truck. And when I say ours, I really mean mine. I had to put it into my name so that Sanderson couldn't get his hands on it and sell it out from underneath me, kind of like what he did on the last truck. And this one's pretty cool. So we're gonna build this thing up. So what we're doing here is we're taking this whole bulkhead out and moving it back about 7 inches.
Moving forward onto the floor pan, pretty self-explanatory. We got the drive shaft tunnel right here. We've got the other foot kick panel up here. What I've got here is the actual seat back itself, and to my right you can see the massive hole I've cut into the side of this truck. You can tell it looks a lot cleaner than the last one. I went ahead and redesigned the whole thing.
We've got to feed this reservoir through here somehow. The problem is this upper spring perch. So what we could do is have Other Josh mill sets of these for us, machine out the ring itself here out of like billet steel. We can go a lot thicker, make it a lot stronger, and then have you design out the upper mount here. So the rocker panel protection down here has a completely different angle on it. So we had to extend it out and then brought it up here. So normally this panel right here is about 4 or 5 inches in. So big change there. We're trying to figure that out right now so we can get this thing wrapped up, but check out the interior. Interior's coming along really well. We've got all the carpet in place over here. We've got the headliner going in place. Brand new C-pillar up here, which is a chromoly design. Sorry, Jason, guy over here, cameraman, has been pushing me to have a shop rig that we're gonna go out and trash off-road, and it was supposed to be this one. Hey folks, welcome back to another vlog. Ryan Wilson here, Predator Inc., and today I've got an insane build behind me. So this was supposed to be my personal truck. I was looking for this truck for quite a few years, looking for a late model truck. Found this 2003, low miles. I want to say it's like 26,000 miles on it when we found it, and started a full reconstruction on it. So we did a number of upgrades. First and foremost, Duramax conversion on it, full interior, 6-passenger seating, stretch seating, and I'll get into that in just a few minutes on what all that means. About 2/3 of the way through, a good friend of mine called me and said, "Hey Ryan, I bought that last truck from you a few years ago. I ended up selling it and I regret selling it ever since." And I said, "Well, I've got this Wagon over here. It's nice, it's good. It's got the Duramax conversion on there. It's got an upgraded interior, but I know what you want." This gentleman is one of the largest car collectors in the world. So he knows cars, he knows vehicles, he knows exactly what he wants. He wants something dialed in, 100% ready to go. And I said, you know, there's a couple blemishes in the paint here, a couple little scratches on the inside, it's used. And I said, you know what, there's another vehicle I'm working on, it was gonna be my vehicle, I'll sell that to you. And he said, okay, cool, what is it? And I said, it's a Wagon, stretch seating, Duramax conversion. He's like, cool, I'll take it. Ultimately, I'm happy it's going to him because he's such a car enthusiast. And I would probably say he's a little bit more of an enthusiast than I am. So let's jump into the truck. I'm gonna show you what we did to it. There's a lot of upgrades that we went with. So first and foremost, looking at the truck, you can see it has kind of a two-tone finish to it. The entire paint job is Kevlar in like a Nardo gray. I did a ton of black accessories on here. We did our new rigid lights that are integrated into our billet aluminum housings. These are your running lights as well as floodlights and turn signal lights. And one of the things that is missed oftentimes is a functional floodlight. We do run a number of floodlights down the side. Sometimes that becomes too much floodlight. However, these floodlights right here, as well as the back on the sides, gives a tremendous amount of light that's just kind of an ambient flood. So if you're at a campground, you're camping with your kids, your family's out here, you don't want to shine a million candlelight power on everybody, you can turn these lights on and it gives a really nice flood appearance out here, and it goes out, say, 30, 40 feet. So that's a huge upgrade right here. Again, it does the turn signals as well as the floodlights and the running lights. So really cool upgrade right there. Coming over here, you've got the clear lights. They're LED turn signal lights as well as running lights on both sides. We also have a FLIR system right here. FLIR stands for forward-looking infrared. It's different from night vision. Night vision just illuminates what you're seeing. FLIR picks up infrared, meaning heat signatures. Let's say a deer is in a bunch of brush. If you illuminate that with night vision, you probably won't see that deer hiding in the brush. But you hit it with FLIR, you're gonna see the heat signature of the deer. You can see the deer turn, looking at you, maybe gonna jump out in front of you. So huge upgrade right here to the vehicle. That's fed up to the main head unit on the inside of the vehicle. Nice upgrade right there. We also replaced the headlights with LED lights up here. We've got flush mounted lights down here. One of the upgrades that we recently did is create this little billet aluminum housing right here. It kicks it up at a little bit more of an angle. When it was flush mounted inside here, it was kind of pointed a little bit too far down for on-road driving. Rock crawling, it's great because it floods everything down really low. So we made that improvement. The little adapter here looks really nice and integrates into our front Viper winch bumper. That's another huge upgrade, which is designed, developed, manufactured right here in San Diego. We manufacture all these components in-house. The advantage with this is the approach angle. It's tucked really far up inside the frame rails, so that gives you a really good and steep approach angle, because that bumper is pushed as far back towards the tires as possible. So that's your approach angle. We'll hit on the departure angle in the rear of the truck with the Viper rear winch bumper, but up in the front you can see how this angular design has a purpose. One of the cool things is the brush guard integrated and designed to work in conjunction with this bumper. So it mounts, the actual mounts are inside of the bumper itself. So you don't see like these add-on attachments on the outside of the vehicle. And that's one of the main features on why I love this bumper here, is because it hides all that. It has a very clean look to it. The other advantage too is you have your winch integrated into it. You have winch controls over here. They're tucked back out of the way. You also have this angle design up here. It's fully capped on the backside as well, and run the Warren forged shackles right here. These are, my opinion, the best ones out there because they are forged. I know we talked about forged rims in the past, and what that is just taking the material, it could be forged aluminum or forged steel, these happen to be forged steel, and super compressing that steel. So it makes the molecules a lot tighter, a lot stronger. And we also have them mounted to a 1-inch block of steel. This is a solid block of steel that we CNC manufacture in-house. And then it's fully welded on the outside as well as the inside and ties into an internal bracket that goes to the frame. So again, very, very well thought out, very stout. One of the other upgrades that we did to the front Viper winch bumper is we added a number of different lights on here. So this light right here, as well as this, ties into a full Wagon system that has all kinds of different functionality. You can do strobe different lights, different patterns. You can go from white to blue to red to yellow, all kinds of different functions as far as these lights go. We have those on the front as well as the back. So we have our D-ring brush guard, which is CNC manufactured in San Diego, in-house, so we can control quality. And that's one of the biggest things is, if you don't manufacture your own parts and you're outsourcing it to who knows who, ultimately you can't control the quality. You can't control the final finished product. If there's something that our foreman doesn't like, or myself, or one of the guys, it's pulled, it's fixed, or it's scrapped. Having the production line being controlled in-house gives us a lot of control over quality. Also allows us to constantly do various upgrades. As you can see right behind me, we have our CNC shop. It's not running right now because we're filming, but we manufacture the mounts. These are solid billet steel, and we cut them out of, it's probably like a 6-pound block of metal, and bring it down to about 1.5 pounds. And we have a really nice clean design to integrate into the upper mount. Because as you can see here, this is a hinging point for the brush guard. The hood also rotates up. So everything needs to get out of the way this way. And you need to have a contact point up here. And that's also why it's one of the strongest brush guards out there. And this setup here is extremely strong. A good friend of mine, Mel, got into an accident years ago, and there's virtually no damage to his front end. The other car, on the other hand, was gone, but his truck was just fine. So a lot of that is just the overall quality of the material we're utilizing. We're running like really thick 120 wall, which is 1/8 inch wall steel, up to 1/4 inch plate that's doubled up in a number of different places, to billet steel mounts up here into the upper airlift hooks. So going up here, we have the airlift hooks, which were originally designed for a helicopter to pick up as like an extraction point or a way to transport the Humvees. Now in the H1 world, we're not really transporting these trucks around with a helicopter. So one of the upgrades that we've done is integrated larger mounts up here instead of the smaller ones. Ties into upper frame mount that goes down to the frame. Very robust location point to tie in our D-ring brush guard. So one of the advantages with the H1 having those there for us is we have 4 mounting points. So when you're driving an H1 Hummer, you're gonna be hitting bugs going down the road. And you'll notice those bugs oftentimes will sheet down like this. Or water droplets going through rain is gonna sheet down typically. What happens is you have this airflow coming across the hood, it hits the front, it kind of creates this air dam and it comes up to the top and it circles like this. So you have a low pressure area right here that kind of circles around. What that does is it adversely affects cooling. So you have air coming in through the front here, and with the original hood scoop on here, which is more or less just a hood grill, I should say, it actually exits through the top area back here. Having this closed off does not allow the air that comes in through here, as well as here, to escape back here. So one of the other advantages with the hood scoop. Coming up to the top here, we have our snorkel. The air comes in here, spins around, and any of the heavy dust particles actually get trapped on the outside of this ring. So now, and I have seen dust come out of the little vent on the side here. Finalizing the front of the truck, we have our heavy-duty light bar with a 50-inch rigid light bar across the front, so nothing too far over the top. I wanted a very clean look to the truck. All the lights have been replaced with clear lights. The marker lights here, as well as the center up there, are clear. And then coming down to the rims, we have our 20-inch rims. These are their simulated beadlock rims with the rock guards on here. We alternate every other one just to give it some more contrast. Also our stainless steel CTIS dual isolating lines here, so you can actually disconnect that. If you're not familiar with the H1 Hummer platform, most all H1 Hummers came with something called CTIS, Central Tire Inflation System. And what that does is it allows you to inflate and deflate the tires on the fly. The dual isolating feature that we've integrated into the CTIS lines is huge. Because what happens is the original CTIS lines could not fully disconnect without actually taking a wrench and taking it off. And then when you took it off, it wouldn't isolate the other side. So on the CTIS, when you go to disconnect it, you just simply reach back here, pop it off. It isolates at the fitting here as well as on the hub side. So when it disconnects there, you've got that tire separate from this tire, and you can change this rim out or tire if you need to. So huge little upgrade right there. It also makes it a lot easier if you do take this in for servicing at a shop that's not familiar with the Hummer. You just pop those off, they can balance it, throw on new tires, whatever you're doing, and then away you go. Another huge upgrade that we did on this truck is a brand new suspension system. So what we've done is created a shock in here that is a full 2.5-inch rebuildable shock, race inspired. Company custom manufactured them up in LA. They do all kinds of race trucks, trophy trucks out there. We worked with them for the last, I want to say, 1.5 years in developing it. So it is a direct replacement to the OEM shock in the factory location inside the spring. So we spent a lot of time in developing the various top hats for it, kind of creating the system. A lot of R&D went into it. We're going into production on those now. I would suspect probably 30 to 40 days, they'll be coming out of production and on the market for sale. So moving down the side of the vehicle, one of the most predominant things on the truck is this search and rescue roof rack. So one of the most notable features about the roof rack is this mount right here. This mount constitutes probably like 3 to 4 hours of manufacturing by hand. There's a lot of work that goes into this guy right here. And that's from this full box steel construction right here to the double mount design. Oversized at 4 inches, it gives you a little bit more substance grabbing onto it. If you came in with a narrower J-hook, it could actually tweak the material, the rain gutter itself, so could cause some damage. So that's why we go with a double mount design or double clamp design. The advantages with this mount is distributes the weight of the roof rack and the cargo and the load that you have up here on the radius of the roof, which is the strongest point, not the rain gutter. So this design right here actually ties into the roof mount. So there's an internal piece right in this area here that ties the roof down to the A pillar. Coming back to the B pillar here, you have this big structure here, an internal roll bar. It comes up to the roof. And there's an internal piece right in there in that same location that the weight is distributed on top of. And then coming back here, this one, there's one right about here. And then back here, this is the only one that does not have a structural mount on here, but you do have one back here. So a lot of structure and forethought has gone into this roof rack to utilize the factory strength of the H1 Hummer. I also blacked out the slats too. We do it in a two-tone combination where it's black and an aluminum slats, but this is what I prefer, the black on black, especially on this truck. I didn't want to have a lot of aluminum on here. And then coming back to the rocker panel protection, again, this is another huge safety feature as well as off-road feature to the truck. As you can see, this angular design here is an entire belly pan that goes underneath the truck. And it covers the entire cab on this side as well as the passenger side. It gives you protection from rocks if you're gonna go traversing up over a boulder. Oftentimes you'll crawl up over something and then you'll hit that boulder and just kind of just drag it across the bottom of the rocker panel protection. Being steel, it's very robust. It's not gonna do any damage to the rocker panel protection or the vehicle. So huge advantage with that. It's designed to come out, I think it's about 3 inches or so. So with the mirrors folded in, it gives you a full protection up and over the mirror width. On the side of the vehicle, I really wanted to showcase kind of what we did over here because this was really challenging. On this side, we had an issue because we have dual fuel going into the truck. We have our main tank up here, auxiliary tank fill right here. So that posed a problem with the stretch seating. Originally, the wheel well is right about here or so, and this whole fill neck here goes straight into the tank, no problem at all. However, with the stretch seating, by moving the seat all the way back into this location right here, we ran into a big problem, which was moving that wheel well all the way back here. So it's just about flush with this area right here. So that posed a problem because we couldn't use original fuel fill. So what we did was we came back here and you have both fill necks right here. You have the main tank on the front, the aux tank in the rear. That posed another problem, which is, okay, what are you gonna do up here? One option is you cover it and you blend it in and smooth it out and make it look really good. But in my opinion, I'm trying to keep the original aesthetics of the truck where it retains that kind of factory appearance. What we did was we integrated an actual charging port right here. So you just take a normal electrical plug and just plug it right into here. And when you're done, just cap it off and close the door. So pretty cool design, very unique. I'm definitely proud of that by retaining the factory fuel fills right here. All right, folks, so on the back of the truck, we have the most dominant item, which is our search and rescue winch bumper here. Fully box steel construction, integrated 12,000 pound Warren winch on the inside of this guy. We also have blacked out step plate here, as well as cover plate here with flush mounted rigid lights. Have these integrated into the reverse lights as well. One of the biggest things you're gonna notice is this angle here, as well as the taper coming up. It has a purpose to it, which is just purely off-roading. What happens is the factory bumper comes across here and then up, and that creates like a little pocket where you can catch bigger boulders as you're traversing or departing off of something. So that was one of the things I wanted to do, which was to get rid of that whole bottom corner of the factory bumper. Then tying into the rear taillights. These are brand new taillights. We just came out. I think this is one of the first vehicles that these are going onto. It's a billet aluminum design. We manufacture in-house, and it does stop, turn, taillights, as well as reverse lights. So this area right here lights up as a reverse light. So you don't have to use off-road lights when you replace this. You have the integrated reverse lights, as well as these guys if you want to turn those on. So you can have these on or off. It's up to you, but really clean look to it. It picks up the factory holes and it doesn't require any cutting, which is really nice. If you ever want to go back to the factory design, and you can go that way. I'm not a big fan of the factory lights because they're kind of takeoff from the Jeep lineup. They look almost identical to the Jeeps, and a few of the Jeeps out there, they share the same lights. So it's kind of nice to get away from that, and that's why I really like this. But also the billet aluminum design with our Predator logo integrated into it, sharp edges on here, looks really clean. So finally, we have the integrated Wagon system back here that does all the flashers. You can change it from different colors, different patterns, different sequences. I mean, it's almost limitless as far as the functionality, and you get in there and you program it with a laptop and change all the settings. Pretty cool design with the Wagon system. I wanted to start the video process on the inside of the vehicle right here, because this is the most iconic part of the truck. Now, we usually start in the dash area because that's where the driver is going to be at. That perspective is pretty amazing, but this is really where it's at. So we did a full 6-passenger seating conversion on this truck. And typically there's a driveline tunnel that comes across here, and that's really what gives the truck, the H1 Hummer, such an amazing ground clearance and that added drivability off-road. It makes it one of the best off-road vehicles in the world because the transmission's sitting right here. You've got a fuel tank over here, you've got the exhaust system that goes over here, and the driveline, of course, right here. So what we've done is we've cut all of that out. We ran a whole CAD design system on here. These pieces are all CNC cut out. We did load testing on it. Ultimately, a unibody construction throughout here. And what we've done to gain this access, we went with a full custom aluminum fuel cell that goes underneath this area. It also comes up and saddles over here. So that gets a lot of the fuel back in that we're losing by cutting that area out. See this area right here, that's where the driveline goes underneath the truck here. And then, of course, the transmission ends right here. Exhaust system is really tight in this area as well, but it is routed underneath here very successfully. And that gives us all of this leg room here. And I'll show you, I'll jump into the back here in just a second. But we took it a step further. We did the stretch seating on top of the 6-passenger seating. So again, 6 full-size adults can easily sit inside the truck now. And that's kind of mind-boggling for a lot of people when they first experience the inside of an H1 Hummer, is that there's only 4 seats and 4 adults can barely fit in here. It's really tight as far as legroom goes. Typically you have about that much room or so between this seat and the front seat. There's a back structure from the wheel well in this location, forcing the seat to be up in here. We cut all of that out, pushed it back almost 8 inches. And what that does is it allows us to push the seat all the way back as well. So that's where we get the stretch seating. Now in that situation, we've got almost, 18, 20 inches or so of leg room right here before you hit the driver's seat. And this driver's seat is not pushed all the way forward to kind of embellish on the video that we have all this leg room. We really have it here. It's just amazing. The other cool feature on this truck is the comfort level of sitting back here. So you can actually slide the seat forward, you can slide it back, and you can also lay it back. Okay, so now I'm sitting in the passenger rear seat, and I'm about 6 feet tall. You can see how much legroom I have. I literally have, 18, 20 inches. And again, this seat is not pushed all the way forward. You can see this seat is in about the stock location, and it has more than enough room for me to sit up here and drive the truck without any issues at all. Now, let's say you're gonna take somebody like Paul Sanderson from the office. He's, I don't know what he is, 6'6", 6'7". He would probably have to slide this thing back maybe 3 inches or so, and then he'd be extremely comfortable. And again, I would still have probably 8 to 10 inches over here. So it has so much room. And you can also slide it forward, and then you can kick the seat back, and then lay back in a nice comfortable position. So coming over here, this is my favorite spot right here, is this location right here. So I've got a ton of legroom. I'm sitting in the middle of the vehicle. I feel very kind of secure and safe, and I can see throughout all the windows. So I have a great view out of the front. You also have the flexibility of dropping the seat back and having a lot more, comfortable layback experience back here. And again, I'm not sitting on this person or this person over here. I still have, between the seats alone, we have about 2 inches or so. So you're not sitting on top of people. There's really, it just gives you a lot of room. So we're taking advantage of that real wide layout of the H1 and utilizing it by putting full 4 adult seats across the back here. Huge upgrade. I really wanted to kind of showcase what we've done here in this location, and you can see how much room there is back here. Okay, so one of the other advantages with this is you do lose a few inches of cargo space back here, but you gain a tremendous amount by just dropping these seats down. And they do sit above the back deck by maybe 5 inches or so. But again, you got a lot of cargo room here. So if you have like skis, snowboard, any type of gear back here, you have that option to drop these seats down and get that gear back up here. So getting onto the inside of the cargo area, I really wanted to showcase how much room you have back here. We did add the 2 additional seats in the center area and we pulled it back a few inches, but you're really not losing a lot of room. I think it's right around 8 inches or so of lost cargo space. You can lay those seats down forward and you get all that area across the top of them as well. Dual purpose here, you have this cargo area up here. It's all structural steel tied into the seat belts, the retractors right here. That front section is tied into the factory roll cage location point. It's all very structural. This gives you a lot of flexibility because you can throw your cargo up inside here. It's not falling around. You're not having to throw cargo on top of cargo. You're losing a little bit of cargo area, but not much at all. Okay, so we're inside the cockpit of this insane H1 Hummer. First and foremost, it was kind of a 2-tone finish to it. So everything on the bottom half from about here down is all black leather. So the dash is all black leather. Everything down here, all the body panels down here are all blacked out leather. Everything on the top half is all Alcantara suede. Everything from this level up is all gray Alcantara suede headliner. We wanted to bring in a little bit of gray in here, like kind of a little bit lighter color than black. We've done black so many times where everything's blacked out and it just gets muted. You lose a lot of the definition that the H1 Hummer has, like this center window pillar coming down here where we can really show off the stitching on there and have kind of that contrast to it and also lighten it up so it's not just like a dungeon inside here. We did a full Alpine stereo system. We have the FLIR system tied into the Alpine head unit and it's switchable so you can just turn it on the fly and it's on, ready to go. It's kind of like an override switch so you can just pop it up whenever you need to. We've got a Momo steering wheel, custom black seats here. Kind of going back to what I said outside the vehicle was we wanted to have a very clean look. We didn't want to have a bunch of clutter inside the vehicle. We went with the Wagon Sapphire CAN bus system right here, and it controls virtually all the lights on the truck. It also controls the siren. It has a microphone over here for a PA system as well, and you can go over to emergency hazard lights, all kinds of different functioning lights over here, and then of course we tied in all the LED lights as well right up inside here. It's fully programmable, so you actually tie into this with a laptop and you program this unit. A lot of flexibility there. We've done something that would take up kind of that much real estate down into a very small little package right here. I think we did a really good job as far as keeping all the clean lines on the vehicle without having a ton of clutter. I appreciate you watching as always. Thanks so much. This definitely was going to be my truck. I was really looking forward to it, but it's going to my buddy. I know he's going to take extremely good care of it and he's going to really enjoy it as much as I would have. I got something else in the works. I'll begin and start building up here shortly. But until the next one, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys soon.